Hey guys, what's up and welcome back to another Koze Daily Brew. Today we're going to be talking about flow in terms of just flowing like yoga wise, flowing in life, flow of just energized focus in a lot of ways, like how to tap into that place in your brain that you're doing something and you're almost so fully infused in doing it that you lose kind of a bit of a concept of like time, anything else other than the concentration on what you're doing and the enjoyment, I guess, in a lot of ways of what you're doing. Because I feel like the difference between flow and just concentration is that there's like a different energy to flow. You are concentrated and you are focused, but there's energy behind it and there's connection and almost like a synergy behind it. You're almost synced into what you're doing. So flow is one of those things that even when I first started getting into yoga, I started calling it flow. And then the more and more I researched yoga and the more I kept on like bumping into the word flow, I guess, in a lot of ways, I realized that it basically just, to me, wasn't just through stretching. I think stretching was kind of the doorway to flow for me. But I noticed that there were other times in my life and other times when I'm doing things that I experience the same feeling that I experience a lot of the times when I would stretch. And so it got me more curious and more interested in flow. It got me more aware of when those moments would peak and then realizing what things were triggering that flow for me. And then in general, it just kind of brought me to a place in my life where I try and get into the flow as often as possible. Now, here's the thing. There's like a stickiness with flow because I find, at least in my experience with it, the more I try and be in the flow, the more it's harder for me to get into it. Do you know what I mean? I think that one of the hardest parts about feeling like you're in a flow with life is it almost kind of has to happen naturally. It almost needs to be like you show up for it and you arrive to what you're trying to do, whether it is stretching or a hobby or a passion or anything else in your life. But then you almost have to like show up with your energy and then relax into it. It can't be like you show up with your energy and you're just like go, 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 and you're so focused and you're so driven with it that you almost miss the flow. You almost miss the whole reason why you're doing it, or like the enjoyment of it, or just, I guess, the simple contentment and peace that comes from just being in the flow of whatever it is you're doing. And that can even come like when you're walking, that can come when you're exercising, that can come. I find a lot of the times it's easiest for me to be in a flow when I'm using my body in some kind of way, because a lot of the time sensations like sight and sound and taste and feel and even stretching, like because you're feeling that sensation inside of your body, it's easy to kind of put your consciousness there. It's easy to focus there. And so when you're focusing there and you're feeling that movement or that tension or just whatever sensation it is inside of your body, it's a good focal point to bring yourself to awareness. And then once you've brought yourself to awareness, to kind of settle in, to sit down in exactly what you're doing and turn off all of the other things that you know you might have to do next. So there's a few ways that I would say I use to kind of open myself to getting into a flow on a more daily basis. I think that one thing in particular has definitely been having a decent kind of routine that I follow, or just structure of my day. For that, I think that the reason why I use that as kind of like a tool to get into flow is that when I know what I should be doing and I'm not kind of stuck, I guess, having to make a decision about what I should be doing, it's a lot easier for me to then flow through all of the things that I kind of have to do without being like, what should I do now? Or what would be the best thing for me to do next? And so one of the things that I've done for a little while, I guess, is followed the same general work schedule. So I kind of do the same things during the same hours of the day. And it's one of those things that I remember reading somewhere, hearing somewhere that Obama did this thing where like he made it so that he wore the same suit and the same tie every day because it just took the pressure or the energy or the conflict of having to make that decision, no matter how simple, out of his mind. And so kind of, I guess for me, coming up with a structured routine and just knowing generally where I should be and what I should be doing on a given day, it makes it easier for me because then it's taking, I guess, having to decide out of my mind, so I'm able to then show up and arrive with energy and then kind of relax into what I'm doing because it's kind of become a habit, you know? I think that flow and habits are one of those things that even just with stretching, I think if you can have like a system of habits that leads you into stretching or meditating, it can make it easier for your brain to relax or settle in, but it also can get sticky again too, because I think that habits can also be bad habits, and you can almost get into a flow with things that might not even be that good for you. So flow is good, I think, in general, but I guess it's all about your intention and all about being aware of what makes you feel, I guess, most in the flow. Does that make sense? I feel like I'm detouring a little bit. How can we reel this back in? No matter what it is that makes you feel like you get into a flow state, usually I think it's passions or hobbies or anything that makes us feel fully just submersed and completely alive in our lives. I think no matter what it is that gets you into that flow, we need to kind of become aware and use those things and put them in our way more often so that it opens us up to being more in the flow-like state every single day. Because when you're in a flow-like state, I think that's when like your best ideas come. That's when like serendipity happens, when you end up just being at the right place at the right time, or the right opportunity comes to you and you just know. It's like a deeper sense of intuition. It's a deeper sense of connecting to your life, and it's a deeper sense of even just connecting to the day-to-day, to connecting to the present moment, and just being completely content and calm right where you are. It doesn't mean that you have to be like tired or like lethargic or slow moving by any means. It just means that you arrive to what you're doing, you arrive to your day, you arrive to whatever is next on your to-do list, or you arrive to, that point of the day that you're turning off work and you're going into your workout or your stretch or a walk or whatever it is, and you basically show up. You show up with excitement, you show up with energy, you show up with momentum and inspiration, and then you completely just chill out into exactly what you're doing and you think of nothing else. And doing that more often will train your brain to get into that flow-like state more often, which will also just make you an all-around, not necessarily happier person, because it's okay to be happy and unhappy and still flow, but I think it will make just in general life a lot more content and peaceful and calm, and that's kind of the point, right? More balanced, if you will. So that is my little life chat this morning on flow. Leave me your thoughts, questions, anything like that down below, and any other future July or just in general Koze daily brews that you guys want to see. And aside from that, I'll talk to all of you guys tomorrow morning. Bye guys.